Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm participating again in Wordstock, which is like this big authortube collab. And the whole point was for me to talk about tension today. More specifically, the difference between tension and suspense. Like everyone who had this suspense day was on Wednesday and mine should be going up now on Saturday, today, when you're viewing this potentially. And then I realized that I didn't know exactly the difference between tension and suspense. And so as I was researching, I think I got myself more confused, and I was sitting here thinking, how can I possibly tell anyone, talk to anyone about the difference between tension and suspense and how to build tension versus build suspense if I didn't fully understand it myself. And that's when I realized that you don't watch my channel for me to tell you about tension versus suspense. You watch my channel for me to struggle through learning about it myself. So that's what we're gonna do today. I paused my Google spiraling so that I could do it with you, and hopefully through this process we will learn together. So I have some resources still pulled up. I have my cappuccino ready. I haven't even had any of it yet. Let's learn about the difference between tension and suspense. I should say first, should I turn this light on? Hello. That I have some vague understanding of character tension. Because I write romance, there's a lot of tension that you need to have between the characters before they can finally get together. So there's like some sexual tension, there's just romantic tension, and I understand that really well. And I do think that that is different than suspense. Those feel different. That's the only thing. I'm gonna, oh, where's my marker? I'm gonna make a note. We're gonna just note all of this as we go, since I only know one thing. For sure, romance, question mark, question mark. The rest of this we're gonna have to learn together. Let's start with the story detective's email, because of course he is the one putting this all together, and he did have some advice throughout the email. I just still don't totally get it. Here we go. AuthorTube Seminar Series Chapter 2, Tension and Suspense. For the second installment, there will be two subjects which are intimately connected and often confused with one another. Yeah, Robert, I am confused. So he explains that suspense, this happens when we are invested in a character and don't want bad things to happen to him. That feeling of uncertainty causes us to be anxious. Therefore, suspense by definition is psychological as readers worry about what might happen. Under the category of suspense, there are a myriad of topics to discuss. Foreshadowing, misdirection, creating intrigue, posing important questions the reader wants or needs answers to, problems that leave readers hanging until the last possible minute. See, some of these are making sense to me with suspense, especially because suspense is a genre in itself, or like it's a subgenre of a different genre of books, which also, frankly, the whole genre classification system is confusing. Now he says for tension is any action which causes physical drama or conflict in the life of a character happening through an immediate action, causing the reader's anxiety to mount because they are caught in a character's turmoil, exacerbating stress or fear. There's a lot of information about scene level tension, confusing the definitions between suspense and tension. Topics here can vary widely as well. Fight scenes, dialogue, car chases versus subtle action. This is where I'm a little bit confused. Okay, scene level, is that the difference? I don't know. And then of course, Robert recommends that we do our own take on it. And yeah, this is really great. Robert's awesome. Do I still not completely understand it? Is that the way that I meant the question to come out? I don't know. I don't completely understand it. So, I did what I did best and Googled. Suspense versus tension. You can see I've already looked at some of these resources. Tension is a feeling, suspense is anxiously waiting for something to happen. Okay, here's the thing, Cora. Don't you feel something when you're anxious? Or is suspense what the reader's going through and the tension's what the character's going through? 6 components underlining tension and suspense. Tension versus suspense slash mystery. Tension relies on readers knowing that something is about to happen. Suspense or mystery achieved by withholding information from the reader. Which is interesting because on my phone, I was perusing Reddit and I found this comment that was basically explaining this old Alfred Hitchcock quote, "The bomb under the table." Hitchcock credited much of his film's success to what he called the bomb theory, his analogy for the distinction between surprise and suspense. They also know that in 15 minutes the bomb is going to explode, which creates nail-biting suspense. So rather than the viewer being surprised, having just watched this bomb exploded people, the viewer knows it's there. So I've seen people explaining that suspense uses or can use dramatic irony in that the audience knows something that the characters don't. But then, how does that differ than what I was just looking at? I'm confused. What's the difference, Google? Okay. Well, that's not helpful, is it? If the reader or the viewer knows something that the characters don't have any tension. We feel a sense of suspense. That makes sense to me. So is tension always something that the characters must feel? And suspense, like that's why suspense can be a genre in itself, or a subgenre, because it's more about the effect on the reader? Is that it? Is that what this is? The next question, what are the 5 elements of suspense? Conflict, pacing, red herrings, atmosphere, high stakes. Well, that's fascinating. So if we go back to what even the story detective put, things like foreshadowing, at least, that's something that the characters don't know, but the readers can pick up on. Important questions readers need answers to. Car chase happens to the character's there. Is that the difference? And I just didn't understand what Robert was saying. Is that it? All of these things need to have an effect on the reader. So, oh man. A suspense novel's about suspense. Wow, thank you. The reader knows the protagonist is endangered from the start, but the protagonist may only gradually become aware of the danger. Covers everything from romantic suspense to psychological suspense and horror. So I'm gonna say that suspense is more reader focused. I can make that distinction in my mind. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down. That's a lesson I've learned. Suspense. Okay. Now another method of figuring this out is that, of course, because these suspense videos have already happened, I could just go watch the other people doing the word stock and see what they say about suspense. Because if I can learn what suspense is, maybe I can more theoretically figure out where the boundary between suspense and tension are sort of cut off. Yeah? Yeah? That makes sense to me. This is one of those hard ones. Like, if I was writing a story, it's one of those things that I think tends to feel pretty innate. Because we as writers tend to read so much, you just kind of know how to increase the tension and increase the stakes. But me actually knowing the distinction between suspense and tension, apparently I did it. So, let's go to good old YouTube. Yeah. Another thing I want to do though is see if my writer friends knew before this word stock what the difference between the two was. So let's see, we got word stock to suspense. Let's just click through some of these videos. I kept scrolling and you can see that this video I watched part of and then I noped out of because I didn't want to get spoiled on Mistborn. All right. I think the first one I opened is Danny's.
So, what is suspense?
What is it, Danny?
My humble opinion, after serious research and talking to my good friend Ken Sean, suspense is a dramatic question.
Did Danny just perfectly explain why I'm confused?
This foreshadowing causes tension, which is fundamental in building suspense.
So let's define suspense. Suspense happens when the reader wants something to happen, and it doesn't. The writer isn't giving them what they want.
Do you want the thrill of a high-stakes car chase? Well, too bad! This ain't some hootenanny.
What a great intro. Okay, what I wanted from this video was for me to magically understand the complete difference between suspense and tension. I feel fortunate that I was able to get both Becca and Jessica to respond to me since it hasn't been that long. And they said that while they understood the distinction, potentially they would have trouble defining it. Or conversely, they think that over time we've just sort of merged these words. And yeah, I'm gonna continue researching. I'm gonna continue watching videos. I'm actually really excited to see what everyone else who's participating in Wordstock says for the tension seminar. Was this video just me struggling for an hour? Yes, over an hour if you count the research I attempted to do before. So please do comment down below. Let me know if you have sort of an easy distinction between suspense and tension. Do you think the words have sort of merged over time and are general vernacular? I think if anything, this goes to show that we don't have to be experts on something as writers in order to understand it as a concept and utilize it. Because obviously, you know, tension is, or suspense, or what am I talking about? I don't know. It's throughout the novel. As we read, we understand the stakes, and as we write, we understand to put the stakes into our novels. And I know whenever I'm rereading my story, I can tell when there's not enough tension or suspense or stakes or whatever. You know, I can tell when it's not giving me the right vibe between the characters, when the reader's not feeling what I want them to feel. But I can't define tension versus suspense. Anyways, yeah, also comment down below. Let me know if there's anything else like that where you know how to use it, but the actual defining it is a little bit harder. Also linked down below in the description will be everyone else who's participated in Wordstock both on the suspense day and on the tension day. So I definitely recommend going on a bit of an authortube spiral. I know I will be. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Bye. His analogy for the distinction. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back. I'm dying. Everything's awful.